the strike is over, right? Right?
The writer side of it, anyways, right?
That's
Supposedly, allegedly.
well, and there are a bunch of hurdles to jump through, and I think we need to acknowledge them because there are several, but there are a ton of them. But the studios right now are starting to press forward with things that they'd kind of suspended, and I think that this is important to note. According to this Deadline article here, studios start to reinstate suspended overall and first look deals. Not all packs will be extended. That's telling. It means that there is stuff out there that they hit the pause button on that they don't intend to restart. So, real quickly through the article because it's not long. Just as studios were quick to start suspending overall and first look deals, just days after the start of the WGA strike, several began to restore suspended packs right after the strike ended Wednesday morning, which is interesting considering it's still technically not over, but for all intents and purposes it is.
This is a matter of restoring, right?
So yeah,
here's the thing. Now we get to see who they want to keep because exactly. It's not over, but they're like, okay, now it's the first more opportunity we have, so we need to keep your talents. That's who they want to keep. Just to keep that in mind. So if you're a showrunner, if your deal has been suspended and it hasn't been, you haven't heard anything from anyone wanting to renew it or re-up it or whatever, you're in trouble.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that this is going to be rather telling. And for those of you who are watching, you happen to be here, share the stream, hit that like button. We are short on likes, guys. Let's punch those numbers up. Once again, we will get to the super chats when we wrap up here with the conversation. We've got one on deck, so let me finish this here. This is from the author saying, "I hear Disney TV Studios, 20th Century Fox TV, and ABC Signature, that's all Disney, Warner Brothers Television, and Apple are among those who started notifying people that their pacts had been reinstated. That includes all the studio's top talent, both writer producers and non-writing producers whose deals were suspended more recently. Other studios, including Amazon Studios, CBS, Paramount TV, and Universal Studio Group, are expected to start sending their letters to writers and non-writing producers at the end of the week. Those are showrunners. Some as soon as late tonight. That would have been, yesterday. Deals don't automatically extend after a strike-related suspension, with studios exercising their option to do that on a case-by-case basis. As expected, not all packs will be extended, meaning that some will not be getting the suspension period as much as 5 months for the first wave of impacted writers added to the end of the term. I hear that affects deals close to their end date, which studios are not planning to renew. A number of packs that expired during the strike also are not being extended. One of the three studios that started to send their notifications, I hear Warner Brothers Television has not extended a sizable number of its suspended packs. According to sources, this is not final, and for longer-term agreements, a decision on possible extensions will be made after discussions. Andre, so you're right on point there, but what do you think's happening with J.J. Abrams' first look deal?
I don't think that's one of those that's going to be reinstated.
Yeah, didn't they sign up to like $500 million worth of work possibly for him?
Yeah, they did, and nothing came of it. And everything he has offered to them, they've rejected every last thing. So I think that more and more in Hollywood have seen through him. They have seen that the only one that actually earns money on working with J.J. Abrams is J.J. Abrams.
This is very, very true.
Studio and shareholder expense. So I'm very, very glad they have seen that. Now, what I am very disappointed by is that they haven't seen the same for his acolyte, Alex Kurtzman, who is still at CBS and Paramount and still ruining Star Trek. This is very disappointing. If there was one person above any, well, not above any, but in my top 10 list people that I wanted to see be ousted or force majeured out over the course of the strike, then Alex Kurtzman was on that top 10. Hell, he was even in the top 3. and he's still there. Nothing happened. You're muted, Cultured. Yes, you're muted.
I find that rather surprising. I think that's that was just what I just. If you were going to let anybody go, it would be Kurtzman, right?
You would think so, but
Yeah.
fortunately, and this is something that Tom has raised, the people that are now running Paramount, none of them have ever ran Star Trek before. They don't know what Star Trek is. That was several generations of executives ago, that Star Trek was a gold mine for them. They don't know what it is. They don't know what it can be. As far as they're concerned, they are glad that someone of as high a caliber as Alex Kurtzman can take care of that for them. That, unfortunately, I believe, is the state of Star Trek, the incompetence of CBS and Paramount. Doesn't help the strength of the property when the ones who ultimately manage it don't understand it, know what it is, or how to monetize it. And that's where we are with Star Trek.
Yeah, but I think that Star Trek and Star Wars kind of share that at the moment with the people that don't know what they're doing with what
this
they
is
have.
Actually, this is true for most franchises. Very few franchises are lucky enough to have a showrunner that truly understands what it can be and will protect its integrity. You have some very few who will do that, but they're few and far between.
Indeed.
And sadly, it's not of none of our really big, massive favorites right now are in that lucky position.
Yeah. Let me pose one at Nick. Nick, a lot of deals are written for both television and film with all of the Disney studios. Of course, that would include Star Wars, Lucasfilm. Do you think there was any chance that we were going to lose some of those deals with some of these directors, writers, or anything for TV and film, and that maybe Iger canceling them, which we discussed earlier, was somewhat tied to any of that, or?
Yeah, 100%. I
Oh.
think that's definitely probably has a lot to do with it. I don't know the details of this deal that they came to with the writers and stuff, but they're going back to work, so I'm guessing that they're probably happy with it, which means that the studios probably weren't that happy with it, but just accepted it just to get the ball rolling on things again. So now, in my mind, it looks like they're trying to look at cutting costs other places since they might have to spend more money on paying writers. So yeah, I figured there's probably going to be a lot of projects that are going to, especially within Lucasfilm, that are not going to end up happening. That's why I'm surprised that the Lando thing hasn't been announced to be on the chopping block.
Well, and there, yeah, I am too. But there are broader issues that are being brought out because of this writer strike, and it puts us right into the super chat that Israel sent a bit ago. Israel R sent a $5 super chat saying, "Do you guys think we will see less shows with less production going forward after the consequences of the Hollywood strikes?" My answer, very simply, is yes. Andre, feel free to elaborate on that.
Sure. I will. I'll give you the long version. Like you said, yes. I'll just give the long version. Hell yes.
There you go.
Here's like the thing that Hollywood, they have been struggling for a long time now with too high budget and not enough profit margin.
Yeah.
They all know that this cannot continue. Even Bob Iger has alerted that things are going to get slashed even at Disney. Can you imagine what they're going to be everywhere else? It's going to be fewer projects, which means they're going to be more selective going forward. So many of these writers, most of which are freelance, even if they're no longer striking, there's going to be fewer gigs that need their services.
Yeah, and that's perplexing, or maybe it's telling. It's probably both. I think, and I've put in that it's probably less than 50% of the people will actually return to writing gigs proper. I think you'll end up with. I think
that many. 50%.
Less than. I think less than 50%. I think that'll have regular writing gigs. I think the studios have accomplished what they meant to do, which is kind of have their business when it comes to content production, because I think they all recognize and realize that they weren't making good things and it was too expensive. Nick,
I
you
think
said,
that I think there'll be a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for? I think they're going to be a lot more conservative on the projects that they're doing. Like, I don't think they're going to greenlight as much stuff for sure. Like, I think they're going to look at projects and be like, can this actually? What are the chances of this project making us money versus these other ones? And I think they're going to try to narrow things down to try to, probably recoup the most amount of money possible and just not greenlight as much stuff moving forward.
well, and it's interesting because we have some brilliant minds in the chat that are agreeing with you, and they're saying exactly the same thing, which is, well, we're going to have less to see, and there'll be less produced, but this isn't going to be necessarily mean better. I think a lot of the merit-based writers are permanently out of the industry now and have gone to do something else, but that's an opinion. I don't know. Do you guys share that? Maybe not.
I don't know. I don't think that they are out already in this moment. I think that many are going to make some very hard discoveries going forward.
Yeah, there's a lot of hard decisions for them to make. I think not renewing these deals is the beginning of that, but I think there's a lot more difficult decisions for them to make. I think, if you're a studio like Warner Brothers, and we have more to talk about with Warner Brothers and DC specifically during the course of this show. I think if you're Warner Brothers right now, you are assessing whether you need the relationship with J.J. Abrams and his wife, or you do not.
I think they already assessed that when they basically said no to everything he suggested.
Yeah.
The only thing that they'll keep him on are for like stuff where I don't think he's completely gone. But you have like projects that he was able to lock himself into, and they're going to continue. Like, for instance, I hope that we will still get Constantine 2 with Keanu Reeves. That is going to get J.J. Abrams is going to get the producer credit on that, because he was able to lock himself into all things Constantine. But that doesn't mean he's going to do anything other than collecting a paycheck, and that's honestly the best we can hope for.
I think it's pretty easy for them to pull him out of that if they don't recast Keanu. They could go a completely different direction.
I hope they don't recast.
It's a branch of Constantine IP that he was able to lock himself into.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. All right. Well, that's not great.
So in order for it to happen, he has to either get the producer credit or be bought out at a higher price. Now, of course, then you might as well just give him the producer credit, because he's not going to do anything other. He's just gonna get an on-screen credit. He's not gonna do anything else whatsoever. Other
he gets a no-show EP. Is what he gets.
Yeah.
A no-show EP and $100,000.
In name only.
That's right. They do that a lot. There's a lot of make good deals in Hollywood, folks, where you get an EP credit and a check, and you never show up. It sounds like Washington all of a sudden. Anyway, thank you, Israel R. You got a lot of bang for your buck there to add on to that subject matter, and I appreciate it.